Goodbye versus goodbye. Intonation is basically the rise and fall. The goal of this video is so that by the end of it, you feel more comfortable with using intonation. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. My name is Zaire, or you can call me Z if that's easier. If you're a returning subscriber, this is a bit different, but if you didn't know, I teach English as my job, and I decided to bring over those lessons to YouTube for those who cannot book one-on-one lessons with me. In today's video, the very first video, we'll be going over intonation. Intonation is basically the rise and fall of the rhythm in which you use to communicate or speak. You can use the exact same words, but the way that you say it will make the difference in terms of how it's understood and the meaning that you're trying to get across. For example, I could say, "Oh, it's hot outside," versus, "Oh, it's hot. It's hot." But that's kind of different because I use different words. But the first one was just to say it's factually hot outside, versus the second one was to convey more of a warning of be careful. Maybe don't touch that. It's hot. So again, the rise and fall of how things are being said. Goodbye versus goodbye, or hi versus hi. So one is more excited, one is less excited. You kind of get the idea. The goal of this video is so that by the end of it, you feel more comfortable with using intonation when you speak, as well as you feel more comfortable within the English language to better communicate and have what you're saying be understood the way that you mean it. So, with all that being said, let's get started. Okay. So throughout this video, we will be going over the three main patterns within intonation. The first being a falling intonation, the second being a rising intonation, and the third being a combination of rising and falling intonation. And each use is for different contexts, different things that you want to be understood. The first one, and if you see me looking down, it's because I have my notebook, so I want to make sure that I'm going in order in a way that makes the most sense. But the first one that we're going over is a falling intonation. This means that your voice goes down at the end, usually for statements or commands. An example being, go sit over there, or make sure you eat your food. Very monotone, very simple, straightforward. Maybe perhaps more energy is placed in the beginning of the sentence. For example, go sit over there. And by the time that I get to there is just said matter-of-factly. It's not very expressive in comparison to go. Do you see the difference? Go versus there. Go sit over there. So that's an example of a falling intonation. The next example would be a rising intonation. So your voice goes up at the end, often for yes or no questions, or questions in general. For example, did you eat ice cream? Or what time does the meeting start? You notice how at the end, it's as though there's more emphasis and energy placed versus in the beginning. So it's the complete opposite of a falling intonation structure for the rising. So go sit over there. It was the falling. More emphasis placed in the beginning of the sentence, go, versus with rising intonation. The beginning is going to be more flat and work its way up. Did you eat ice cream? Did you eat ice cream? Notice, did you eat ice cream? Going up. So that's another example. Normally you would use this when you're asking questions, like I said before. And then the third one, quickly going over it before we go into more details, would be the rise and fall, or the fall-rise intonation. This is typically used when your voice falls then rises slightly, often to show uncertainty or politeness. So you could say, for example, I think she said that. Or maybe, but I'm not too sure. So you notice the difference in the rhythms. It's falling and then rising, or sometimes it's rising and then falling and then rising again. So this is to convey uncertainty. In the terms of being polite, you could say, it was a pleasure meeting you today. Notice it's a full and then it comes up. It was a pleasure meeting you today. Fall and then up. Okay, so now going into the next part. Rising versus falling, and this is where I'm going to give you more examples so that you can get a better idea of when and how to use it. Sorry if you can hear noises in the background. I live in New York City, so it's very loud 24/7. But going back to what we were saying. So let's try a few examples together. And I can't hear you, but if it helps, after I say one example, pause the video, repeat it out loud, press play, and then, or you can rewind to what I said and then say it again and back and forth. That helps. Also with my students, something that I recommend for them is to record themselves when they're practicing. That way they can listen after they've practiced to hear the difference in the way that I sound versus the way that they sound, and they can correct it based off of their ear. Hearing what you sound like helps a lot more, because when you're speaking, you may catch some mistakes that you've made, but you're not catching all of them. And a lot of people are very shy at first, especially when it comes to speaking, but even more so when it comes to recording themselves, because they don't like how they sound. That's the best way to practice. So you don't have to record your face or anything. You could just record your voice. But with that being said, I would recommend recording your face or practicing in front of a mirror. That way you can see the motions of your mouth to make sure you're making the correct shapes to get the right sounds and so forth. But going back into the video, let's talk about some examples that we can do together. Alright, so the first one that we're going to work on is falling intonation. I finished my homework. I finished my homework. I, starting from the top, fall into finished my homework. I finished my homework. And also notice the stretch on N, finished. You should feel a vibration in the top of your head. I finished my homework. And the same vibration for M in homework. I always tell my students with M's, N's, and L's, you should feel the vibration at the top of your head. And then for a lot of the other letters in the alphabet, you're going to focus more so in the mouth. And then with the TH and the CH, you'll feel the vibration in your chest. Think is very breathy and it's coming from your chest. Chores is very breathy and coming from your chest. So again, some random examples. I tell my students this throughout our lessons and it helps them. I try to throw in little tips and tricks throughout the video, but then also my one-on-one lessons, because I think if you hear it often enough, it'll be in your subconscious and then it'll click. So I'm going to do that throughout these videos as well. Going back to our examples that we're working on together. I finished my homework. Falling down. I finished my homework. The next one, rising intonation. Did you finish your homework? Did you finish your homework? Notice I'm starting down, finish your homework, going up. Did you finish your homework? I'm questioning you. I'm asking you whether or not you did or did not. So because it's a question, we're going to use the rising intonation versus the statement, I've finished my homework. Falling intonation. All right, so notice how your voice moves differently. Practice each one back to back, meaning practice your falling and then practice your rising and then practice your falling and your rising one after the other. That way you can feel and hear the difference. And recording yourself really will help and make the biggest difference. That's my biggest tip of advice. Record yourself while you're practicing. That way you can listen to it over and say, oh wait, I could have done this differently, or I could have done that differently. Say yes. Okay. Something else that I want to recommend is to take your time with each word when you're speaking. So speak slowly. Even if you are comfortable enough in terms of communicating within the English language, a lot of people will speed through the sentences or speed through what they're saying, which will make a difference in terms of the clarity of the sounds of each word as well as the blending. So even with what I just said, I spoke very slowly and rather concisely, but all of my words were for the most part blended and linked together. You could understand and hear each word that I was saying because I'm placing more of an emphasis. Now, that is not to say that that's how I speak on a day-to-day basis, but in order to speak clearly, you have to be able to speak clearly slowly and then add speed to it. So I will say both sentences back to back, falling and rising, first slowly, which I would recommend you doing first, and then I will speak it at a normal pace. So for the first one again, I finished my homework. I finished my homework. Now, normal pace. I finished my homework. I finished my homework. Rising. Did you finish your homework? Did you finish your homework? Normal pace. Did you finish your homework? Did you finish your homework? And I kind of changed the sounds of each of those near the end, but again, it's your personal style. So yes, practice that at least 2 to 3 times each, and then 2 to 3 times back to back. And listen, rewind, re-listen, pay attention to my mouth movements. You'll also see the facial expression change because one is a statement versus one is a question. So I may seem a little bit uncertain. That's also something to add when you're speaking. When we're communicating with one another, we don't just listen, we see, we're watching your body language, your facial expressions. So that's something as well that you want to pay attention to in terms of how you want to communicate and convey what it is that you're saying. All right, moving on from those 2 examples, we have some more practice sentences that we're going to work on together. The first being falling. I can't believe I got the job offer. I can't believe I got the job offer. Starting out high, lots of energy, falling by the end. I can't believe I got the job offer. I can't believe I got the job offer. Normal pace. I can't believe I got the job offer. Notice how it's falling. It's like a hill is what I would say. Start off here and then we wind down. Now, going into the rising example. Are you coming to the party tonight? Are you coming to the party tonight? Normal pace. Are you coming to the party tonight? Are you coming to the party tonight? Starting off low and then climbing up that hill. Are you coming to the party tonight? Are you coming to the party tonight? And also notice the breathiness of pa, pa, for party. Party. Something as well that I will make a note of is the T's in the middle of words, specifically more so for the American accent. We make them sound like D's, like lowercase d's, I would say. Party is more English sounding versus we would say party, party. Are you coming to the party tonight? A little random tip. I told you I'm going to be adding them throughout the videos, but something also to keep in mind, and I will have the sentences on the bottom of the screen so that you can follow with us. Okay, remember, practice falling and rising back to back. First one, then the other, and then both. Recording yourself because this will make a difference. Now, we're going to try a fall rise example. I think I might try that new restaurant. I think I might try that new restaurant. It started off kind of low, then went high, then back to low. I think I might try that new restaurant. Notice the stress was placed on think because I'm unsure, I'm uncertain, I am debating it. I don't know if I will or if I will not. If I will or if I will not. Rise, fall. Rise, fall. You can do fall, rise, but I think it's also dependent on your personal style of speaking. I think I personally do more rise, fall for dramatic effect, but it's up to you. So you can practice fall, rise, or fall, rise versus rise, fall, and see which one feels more natural and comfortable for you. So give all 3 of those a try. Remember, rewind the video to go back to me saying it, then you say it, then me saying it, and then you listen to the difference if you're recording, and then go through each one and practice it until it feels comfortable and natural. Remember, take your time with each word and then say it all together. Adding speed is a lot easier than starting off fast and trying to slow down, which I see a lot of people struggle with, but it helps to start slow and pick up pace as we continue on. Going back to intonation and how you want to personalize it for how you communicate with people, intonation isn't just about grammar or used for grammar purposes. It's also to express emotion. Let's say an example, like an excited example. I got the tickets. I got the tickets. But really, this is a falling intonation because I started high and then I fell. I got the tickets. I'm coming down on tickets. Or curious, which would be rising. You went to Paris? You went to Paris? Notice the stress placed on Paris, and it's placed up here because we're rising to Paris, which is where we're placing more emphasis. You went to Paris? You went to Paris versus I got the tickets. I got the tickets. The fall versus the rise. And then you could do the hesitant, which is a combination of fall and rise. I guess it's okay. I guess it's okay. So you could have it start off top or start off high where you're falling and then rising and falling again, or start low where you're rising and then you're falling. Again, it's up to you. So play around with it. There's no wrong way. That's something that I also want to preface. There's no wrong way to speak. Everyone's style is unique. The main thing is you just want to be clear, concise, and you want to have a smooth blending of your words together. That way the person who's listening to you can understand what's being said and they're hearing each and every word that you're saying. So that's the thing that I want to preface the most. Focus on saying what you want to say as clearly as possible, and then pick up the speed and add the words back to back in a faster pace. A pace that feels more normal. Now we're going to close this off with a little mini practice. Repeat after me. I'm gonna say it, and then you're gonna say it, and then if you're recording it, rewind, and again, you should know the drill by now. Record, listen, practice, rewind, listen, fix what you want to fix. If you hear something that you said that sounds different, and then practice some more. I can't wait for the weekend. I can't wait for the weekend. Fall. I can't wait for the weekend. Fall. Normal pace. I can't wait for the weekend. Weekend. And notice the stretch on N again. End. Weekend. That fall. Are you free tomorrow? Are you free tomorrow? Stress on tomorrow. Coming up. Rising intonation. Are you free tomorrow? Stress on tomorrow. Fall, rise. I suppose that could work. I suppose that could work. Fall, rise. Fall, rise. We start off, I suppose that could work. I suppose that could work. Fall, rise. Okay, now right before we say our goodbyes for today, I want to go over some common mistakes that people make. Many learners make the mistake of keeping their voice flat throughout the entirety of what they're saying. You want to sound musical in nature. Even if you listen to me, sometimes I'm more flat, but then sometimes I rise. So really it depends on how you want to be understood. So have fun with it. There's no need to sound robotic or uncomfortable, but really play around with it and you'll enjoy it. And the person who's listening to you will enjoy it as well. So I hope you enjoyed the first video of this English learning lesson series. I shall see you guys in the next one, and if there's specific videos that you guys want to see, just let me know down below. Good luck practicing. Bye.